You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM. We're also streaming live at cklu.ca. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. Download the Radio Player Canada app and you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. So that's one way that you can listen to us. If you want to view the show, you can go to facebook.com/Sudbury News or youtube.com/Sudbury News. And we have a live stream each and every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30 is when the live show goes on the radio and streaming and live broadcasting on Facebook and YouTube. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. Mainly comment, though. This is your conversation on your station. We try to, take local news stories, unpack them, and broader news stories and unpack those as well. We don't just concentrate on local. However, the show is out of Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, and we look at our local stories and issues, which are a lot the same of other communities. They're very much the same as other communities around the world, and so we can all relate to some degree of what we're going through in these times. And so we'll look at regional news, provincial, national, and international issues and news that's going on in the world. We have a conversation around it, try and connect some dots, try and make some sense out of what could be a rather, confusing world that we live in. Some people seem to have it together, it's interesting, like listening to some people's takes on, this is the way it is, and it's interesting. The more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know. It's really interesting. As life is like an onion, it's layers and layers. But we do still have to have some sense of community. We're all in this together. We're trying to navigate through life and understand things that aren't necessarily easily understood, and sometimes you need to just question things, and questions often lead to the answers, and that is the secret of life, is to just ask questions, and not only ask questions, but ask the right questions with the intent to gain knowledge or understanding of a particular thing. And some people are happy not doing that, and that's okay too. You don't have to try and understand everything there is to know in the world. As long as you're happy where you're at, that's okay. But for some reason, I don't know why I'm wired to always need to know certain things. It just is what it is. And the more I dig, the more I realize there's lots more to dig, and it's a never-ending quest in life to find out our purpose, why we're here, how we got here, or what we're supposed to do while we're here, and maybe where we're going after too. That's a big question that a lot of people kind of avoid while we're going through our lives here, but oftentimes we have to face it one way or another, whether it's through loved ones or our own self. We have to ask these deep questions, and it's not always every day that we do that. We're so busy doing things, going from task to task, to our jobs, our family. We're busy. We have things that we're doing. And it seems like we have a huge opposition in the world around us. We're heading somewhere as a society, it seems like things are going somewhere, and it could feel scary. There's a lot of fear out there these days with, the news and what's going on in the world. And that's why we like to have these conversations each and every weekday morning here to try and make some sense, calm ourselves down, use some logic, use some patience with ourselves and with others, and slow things down a bit. Think about things before we go into a frenzy of something that we're not going to like. However, I think society is kind of on that bandwagon, so to speak, to move somewhere rather quickly without really thinking about the precautions of what we're going to be doing. That's my own take on it. There's a lot of people who have a lot more optimism about things, but it is what it is. Okay, so let's dive right in today. We got a great show, as usual. Local headlines. There's a deep dive into what we're not 100% sure. I thought I shared some things here with myself that, and I probably did here. That's good. So we'll have a deep dive into something, trying to make sense of the, our world that we live in, and you'll be able to chime in on that. But first, we're going to start off with some weather, and then we'll come back after that with some news headlines, your comments, and see how everyone's doing. We weren't on yesterday. We had technical difficulties. We had the same technical difficulties this morning, but I was able to take care of them because I knew from yesterday what could have happened, and so we fixed the problem. So hopefully it doesn't add another step into each and every morning getting the show up and running, because that would just be... We don't need any more steps. We need to kind of eliminate some steps, but it is what it is, and we're going to have a show regardless, and it's going to be good because you're a part of it, and we'll be back right after this. Weather brought to you by Duck Check. And as I said, weather brought to you by Duck Check. They make sure to make the air clean inside your home. You can't do anything about the air outside and what is sprayed into your skies and what you breathe in, but you can control the inside of your home. And why not call the experts who can be trusted, who have the right equipment, the right knowledge to be able to do that. And the air comes through your duct system inside your home. So why not make sure that that's clean and you're breathing clean air? Ductcheck.com. Just give them a call at 705-918-4848. Ask for Steve, and he might be able to give you a deal. We'll talk about that after the weather. Now, currently we have a heat warning. As you know, we've been in a heat warning for a bit. So again, right, elevated heat and humidity for the greater Sudbury vicinity. It'll continue through today. Daytime highs through today are expected to be 28 to 33 degrees Celsius, with the humidex values 36 to get this 42 degrees. There'll be little relief through the overnight, as lows are expected to be 17 to 20 Celsius, with the humidex values of 25 to 30. Overnight, that is. That is incredible. Hot and humid air can also bring deteriorating air quality and can result in air quality health index approaching the high risk category. Heat stroke is a medical emergency. Call 911 or your local emergency number immediately if you or someone you know or someone you see or someone you're caring for has a high body temperature and is confused, has stopped sweating, or becomes unconscious. The health risks are greater for older adults, infants and young children, pregnant people, people with physical and or mental illness, and people with disabilities or mobility issues. Drink plenty of water regularly, even before you feel thirsty, to decrease your risk of dehydration. Never leave people, particularly children or pets, inside a parked vehicle. Hopefully we know that by now, and the list goes on. Now we know that it feels hot out there. Boy, oh boy, was it hot yesterday. And currently it's 22 degrees, but it feels like 29 before 8 a.m. in the morning. So that's how hot it is. Going to get to, with the humidex, possibly 42 degrees today. That's incredible. A mix of sun and cloud, 40% chance of showers this afternoon with a risk of thunderstorm. Wind becoming southwest, 30 kilometers, gusting to 50 this morning. So yeah, something we noticed yesterday, a bit of a wind as well, hot wind High of 31, humidex 38. UV index is 9, or very high. Tonight, partly cloudy with 40% chance of showers. Risk of a thunderstorm this evening. And the wind will also be gusting to 50 and 40 this evening, actually. Low of 18 overnight. Look at your long range. So Thursday, a mix of sun and cloud, clearing early in the afternoon. And 25 is your high. Humidex 29. And UV index is 9, or very high. So today and tomorrow, again, very hot, 25. And Friday as well. Mix of sun and cloud tomorrow. Friday, mix of sun and cloud, both 25 degrees. Saturday, it's starting to cool down, and they're asking for a 60% chance of showers with a high of 20. 30% chance of showers on Sunday with a high of 21. Monday, 25 degrees, sun and cloud. 26 degrees on Tuesday, partly sunny, sun and cloud as well. Mix of sun and cloud. So again, the temperatures are going to go up again. Monday and Tuesday, we'll have a little bit of a relief, it looks like, over the weekend. But rain is also in the forecast. So for those having activities, outdoor activities, just make sure to look at your weather app. Make sure that the weather is going to be exactly what you need for whatever you're doing, or just make precautions for whatever your event is going to be on the weekend. Look at your satellite. You can see a lot of that cloud activity coming from the northwest towards Sudbury. Looks like we might get some of that, as they were saying. And that's your weather, brought to you by DuckCheck. DuckCheck.com. Check them out. Give them a call, 705-918-4848. Or better yet, let them know that we sent you, and you can get $100 off your next duck cleaning and inspection. Make sure to let them know that we sent you. That's your weather, brought to you by DuckCheck. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, and much more right after this. And we are back, and you are here, and we're grateful for you. And again, I apologize for the technical difficulties yesterday, and it could have happened today as well, but we didn't let it happen. So live coming to you from YouTube, Nana, first to the YouTube party. Good morning, young man. I appreciate that. Missed the podcast and followers yesterday, for sure. I know it's a great conversation. It seems like a lot of us are getting to know each other on the show, and that's a really great thing. And Alexa, good morning to you as well. Good morning, everyone on YouTube. Hope you're having a great morning. Bob on YouTube as well. When we err, it does not become a mistake until we choose not to learn from it. That's a great statement for the morning, and I wholeheartedly agree. It's something that I've been thinking about lately, actually, is don't beat yourself up for things that you may or may not feel that you've done correct, or you made a mistake, or just try and understand what happened and move on and move forward and learn from it. And I think that's all we can do. And that's, I think, what life is mainly for. Well, a big chunk of what life is for sure. Marianne, good morning, everyone from Barrie on Facebook, liked and shared as usual. Also on Facebook, Judy, good morning to you. Thanks for being with us. And Monique as well, good morning, Sudbury, sunshine, and shade. Smiley emoji with the shades on. It's my favorite one. Good morning to you and Brian. Top of the morning, Patriots. Good morning, Brian. Hope you're having a good morning. Along with Liette. Good morning, everyone from Collingwood. Miles, good morning. Welcome back. Missed for a day. Yeah, it just seems, sometimes it's a big hole for myself because it's a great conversation in the morning. And when we miss the day, it's great to be back, though. So good rising, wonderful people. That's Monique, a sunshine and a heart emoji. Sheila, good morning from Quebec. Good morning to you. Denise, blessings from Espanola. Good morning to you, Denise. And morning, Vin. And Marianne, exactly. Knowledge is power. And it darn well is. Cindy, good morning from Capriol. And lots going on in Cape Real these days. They seem to have all kinds of events going on and festivals and things. It's a happening place. So good morning to you. And Denise, food is a powerful tool, just saying. Food is a powerful tool. If you don't have food, your physical body won't be able to survive, and then to heck with the rest of your body as well. You need to have food, and I would submit healthy food on top of that would be even better. Sheila says, we don't have heat waves anymore in Canada. We have heat domes. Geo. Sunshine emoji. I believe you're referring to geoengineering that we talk about quite a lot on the show, and that's where scientists have made the decision, whether people like it or not, that they're going to go out and spray our skies constantly to cool down the earth. Well, we don't really know. Well, we do know, but there's a lot of substances in those things that they spray into the air that we breathe in as it comes down from the clouds. What goes up must come down. And so we'll, I guess, see the effects of that years from now. And, why we allowed that, I guess, because people are called crazy, even though it goes on over their heads each and every day. They say it's normal. It's just condensation trails. There's nothing to see here. It's just what we've seen our whole lives. Wait a minute. No, it's not really, but I'm going to believe that it is because I'm not sure. Just because let's just change the subject. Having conversations with people about just realize what's going on. And we've at length shared video and scientists talking about that. And so it is a thing. It's called geoengineering. If you want to learn more, go to geoengineering.org. It's got everything you need to know on that. And they got a great documentary, a lot of facts. If you care, not everyone does. Not everyone cares. Go ahead and spray whatever you want over my head each and every day. I don't care. Yeah, I'll just breathe in whatever chemicals and stuff you put in the air. You don't care until you care, until it causes some kind of illness, and then you might care. But all right, so Marianne says we have to relearn everything we've been taught. I would agree with that for sure. Sometimes you need to, that's why repetition on things too. I used to enjoy teaching classes on things that I felt that I was pretty, knowledgeable about. But the more I would teach the basic principles of that, I would kind of seem to learn another layer deeper into that subject I was teaching about. And I love teaching, and apparently out of all of the ways you can learn, teaching is the best way to learn. So, and then the next is kind of like being shown and trying something. So hands-on, that's the next best way of learning something. And then redoing it over, kind of like what Bob was talking about, learning from our mistakes. That's like hands-on. Try it. Oh, that's not the way to do it. This is the way to do it. Your brain goes, oh, I know how to do it now. But anyways, yeah, so definitely relearning things is important sometimes. Indeed, the rabbit hole runs deep. That's Monique, and it does definitely. And Maurice, good morning to you. Sunshine emoji, I believe. Happy emoji. Denise, good morning. Paid for by the simple-minded. True, right? Sometimes the inquisitive type, like myself, could be judgmental on other people if they don't have the same questions that I do. But I just realize that people are different too, and some people, they're just not wired for that. Just tell me what to do, I'll do it. And, don't make my life complicated. And okay. I think the world has need for people like that, and need for people that are just, they're watchdogs. They're going to guard. They're going to be the ones up on the tower watching for danger around and sensing it, and then telling everyone once there is a sense of danger, right? So everyone's wired differently, and I think there's people that like that. As long as the others at least listen to those people and give them the time of day and say, okay, what are you saying? What's dangerous? And this is the danger, I think. There are people with a lot of power that realize that. And so they give them that. They're like, you need to be afraid. Watch out. Look. But the things they're giving them are the things you're seeing on the news. You know, they're there to say, we're the watchdogs. We found out there's this thing where the world is going to end in 10 years if we don't totally go back to the dark ages and totally just get rid of anything, any technology we have, unless it's the kind of technology that we can track you with or that we can monitor everything you do, your finances, who you're talking to, what you're saying. That technology is okay. But the one that gives you the ability to just get in a vehicle and just drive wherever you want, have that freedom, that technology is bad. That's what's ruining the earth. But the technology we have, that's okay. It's weird, right? So we do have this sense that there's people out there telling us what to watch out for. There's a wolf out there, but it's not the wolf you think it is. There's made up wolves too. And then how do you know which wolf to be afraid of and which one isn't the real deal, right? So it's kind of confusing, and I can see how it's confusing for some people. And once they can't handle that, it's like, just tell me what to be afraid of. I'll be afraid of it. I'll move on. Tell me what to do. I don't want to think, wow, you're telling me to be afraid of something, but you're the one I need to be afraid of. I can't even think like that. Like my brain doesn't go that way, right? So I can appreciate that there's people that are just not wired for that. Sheila says, Health Canada gives advice on mainstream media today as to how we cope with the heat domes. One thing too, now that you're bringing it up, and I want to talk about it anyways, is I knew it was going to happen. As soon as the heat wave kicked in, like how many, so depending on how old you are, how many heat waves have you been through in your life? Probably quite a few. Probably at least one main one every summer, right? Possibly. Just like in the winter, you probably experience a cold spell where it goes like to minus 50. You go outside and you can, the snow has that sound to it when you walk on it. Your nose freezes up, the hair is inside, We're used to at least one of those. Usually we can expect one kind of cold snap every winter, at least one heat wave every summer. We're used to it. But no, not to the CBC or mainstream media. I knew as soon as this heat wave hit, all the stories are ready to go. They had them all canned, all ready. Now let's have them. It was pretty cold up until this heat wave. It was very cool, unseasonably cool for June before this heat wave. They weren't talking about the fact that the world is heating up and the danger and everything's, to be afraid, be very afraid of everything. They didn't talk about that on the news when it was cooler temperatures than normal. Why not? Like, news is news. Scientists are releasing reports at different times. Why don't you just cover it when they release it? No. As soon as the heat wave hit, that's when they all came out with these stories, about how the earth is heating up at unprecedented temperatures and be afraid and you got to give up everything you have in order to save the planet. Those types of things. And I was expecting that, and that's exactly what happened. You just turn on CBC. I know if some people can't stomach it, but turn it on, just listen to it every once in a while, just check in, and they'll be talking about it. Yeah, they won't have another scientist, though, that doesn't agree to have a bit of a debate about it. Never. They will never have that. They will never have that. And why? What's up with that? Do they totally just blatantly believe that these scientists don't exist, that have a differing opinion on the fact that the earth is going to blow up in 10 years? How many times have they said that? Back in the 70s, it was an ice age that was coming. Leonard Nimoy made a documentary about the ice age. And then Al Gore, by now, all the polar ice caps. These journalists that we pay for out of our tax dollars don't bring that up. Like, if you're a journalist, why don't you just say, like, Go back and call a spade a spade. You're an activist. Admit it. Just come out and say it. I think they do a lot of times. It's activism. And they feel that they have every right to push forward their agenda because they're activists, not real journalists. Journalists would be constantly questioning and getting both sides of a story all the time and really trying to get to the bottom of something and holding people accountable who need to be held accountable, but they don't. They're activists. They're like, yay, good, Biden is putting Trump in jail. That's the right thing to do, and not saying, wait a minute, why is a president putting a former president through this? Like, what's going on here? That looks a lot like a totalitarian government where they try and what they do to their opponents. They either jail them or kill them. That's what they do in other countries. Like, no mainstream journalist is questioning that. They're all like, he deserves it. Not saying, well, wait a minute, could there be some things that Joe Biden has done that are possibly prosecutable? Are there? Maybe one? Has he ever done one thing? He's been a politician a lot of times, and we know politicians. Well, Joe Biden, I have a video of him about how many lies he said over his career. He's lied about everything. His life, like he was here, he was civil rights movement. He was getting arrested. He was arrested on his way to visit Nelson Mandela. He comes from Puerto Rican parents, or he's raised by Puerto Ricans. I don't know how many. It just goes on and on and on. And when he was running for president back in the day, he took a speech right from a British politician and basically almost said it word for word and made it his own, and then had to admit that it wasn't his. You know what I mean? So here's someone like that putting someone else in jail because of whatever. And it's okay. The journalists don't go back and go, well, wait a minute. If we're gonna do this to Donald Trump, why don't we do at least? I'm okay to do at least the same thing to Joe Biden as well. At least put him through the same filter. But they don't, because they're activists and that's their party. They've chosen that party and that's their guy, and they're going to endorse through their profession, through their activism. They're going to endorse that candidate and that party. And you hear it in their words. It's totally spun. It's totally there. It's not hard to see, totally biased. But you're thinking, yeah, of course, because someone on that side would say, well, of course, because it's common sense. They're just right because they agree with your politics. That's the only reason. But true journalism doesn't agree with your politics. It agrees with what's true or what's not, what's a principle, you know what I mean, on the principle of truth, not whether he's in your party or not. So these are the journalists we have today, funded by us, crazy, and they're taking huge $1 million bonuses on your dime, and we are allowing it to go on. That's crazy. It's really crazy. I don't know how we got here, but we're here. Brian, rest in peace. Rex Murphy. Good timing on that, even though you've made that comment a while back. 1947 to 2024. Rex Murphy definitely was I found as a real journalist in our country. Denise says, I keep a wet towel all day around my neck. Dripping is best, for sure, to keep cool during this heat wave. Marianne, notice how when we get these heat days, they try to send people into a panic. I remember days being hotter than this. There you go. And there have been many throughout time. And on Friday, if anybody totally agrees with the mainstream narrative on climate and, you know, what we're being told by mainstream media all the time, and anyone who thinks something different is a quack, well, then stay tuned on Friday. We'll have our Friday focus on the climate and a lot of great information that you then can take and research yourself. And maybe it'll give you some food for thought on what we've been told for the last little bit. Sheila says, lower cloud cover holds heat in the smaller the space, the hotter it gets. I feel like a slow boiled frog. And that is what other scientists are saying about the whole geoengineering movement. And it's out there to cool the earth. They say by trying to reflect the sun's rays back into outer space, it just holds the heat in more is what it's doing. And so there's some validity, I guess, or whatever to that statement. There, I can see how that's possible. I am not a scientist, but to me, if you're making a layer of something in the skies, and it's reflecting the sun's rays out, could it possibly be keeping heat in as well? Yes, it could be. And we've had scientists here on the show playing different clips from them saying that very thing. Yes, 30-something to 2 weeks starlight. Weather info is a weapon on the simple-minded. Again, on Friday we'll have that. Weather is always happening, right? They use weather and call it climate change. But it's weather, a climate event now, right? It's a climate event. It's not just weather. What the heck's up with this changing of our language even to suit this movement, this climate alarmism movement, or climate cult, as some people call it, right? I also find oxygen is thin. I would definitely see that. And Jessica, thanks for being on. Good morning. Oh, Alexa. Kevin, good morning on YouTube. Thanks for letting me know. I wouldn't know because all I see is the name that comes up, right? But yeah, there's other aliases on here too, not just you. But good morning and good game last night. My goodness, the Oilers down 3-0, winning second game in a row. Now the series is tied. The Stanley Cup Finals, 3-2. One more game coming up on Friday in Edmonton. If they win that, it's tied up. We're going to a game 7. Who would have thought? Anyways, Sheila says, "Yep." Again, the lower the cloud cover creates less airspace. That's interesting. Have to look more into that. Jessica says, Capriol Days by Capriol Community Action Network is end of July. So yeah, make sure to get out and have some fun in Capriol. It's just such a nice little town with that river and the walkway that goes along the waterway there. Just behind the downtown. It's very unique. It's got the rail yard there. It's got the museum. Really cool little town, Capriol. Shout out for them. Denise, it's genocide. Our forests, the animals, our food, everything. These people have bunkers. You ever hear? Out of the ground they came? Possibly. But yes, I do know that a lot of the rich or wealthy people, or possibly you could call them elite people of the world, do have bunkers. I wonder why, if there's nothing to be afraid of in that way. We just got to be afraid of the weather. I don't think their bunkers are for the weather. Maybe it's something. So again, we're told to be afraid of something, but meanwhile, something else is more dangerous than that. Like there's ships, Russian ships just off the coast of the United States near Cuba right now. And apparently Miles was saying Canadian ships were alongside them. A Canadian ship was found alongside a Russian warship. So to me, that's more dangerous than to be afraid of the weather or the climate. That's a real danger. Nuclear war is more of a danger than the Earth not working out its own climate as it has over billions and billions of years, right? But we're told that, that's not the danger. There's a country that's just foaming at the mouth to come in and take over Canada through our politics, through our economy, through our education, through our media. And then the last but not least, it's going to be by force. And you can expect that totally. And if, hence the reason for bunkers. Jessica says, just saw heat domes on the news this morning. New Sudbury Days by New Sudbury Community Action Network is end of August. Yeah, I really like the idea of having these local days for these neighborhoods and towns around the city. It's really healthy for us, as a community, as a larger community, to celebrate the smaller communities. Marianne, you froze. Okay, guess I'm not. It's what I'm talking about, possibly. Minnow Lake needs volunteers to create a Minnow Lake Days. Now that would be cool. Speaking of, an underrated, beautiful area of the city. I lived in Minnow Lake for a while with the lake itself there, and they have the spout, the fountain, changing colors, and the walkway along the lake. It's a beautiful area, so close to downtown, and And Ramsey Lake on the other side of it, just a beautiful, beautiful area of the city. Very underrated. Not by those living there. They know exactly what a gem it is. Brian says some midweek motivation. If you let others' perception of you dictate your behavior, you will never grow as a person. But if you leave yourself open to experience despite what others think of you, then you'll learn and grow. From Boy Meets World. Cool. Yeah, that goes along with what Bob was saying earlier from YouTube. Learn from your mistakes. Just learn from them. And you'll grow. You'll grow and allow yourself to do that. Allow yourself to make mistakes. Do you know some people out there, they just can't make a mistake? It's hard for them. Like they'll make up all kinds of excuses. No, it wasn't me. No, I didn't do this. Or embrace it, man. Embrace your humanity. Embrace your imperfectness because you're not perfect. And it's okay. It's okay to be human. When someone comes up to me and says, I'm sorry, I did this as something that affected me. I say, you know what? I'm glad you did that because it just proves you're human. Because I was beginning to worry for a while. And maybe you'll give me the same mercy if I do something wrong, which I would hope, because I'm going to do something wrong. And it's just a fact. It's just a fact. We all do something wrong at some point. Must have hit an algorithm. Oh yeah, when it froze for sure. Good morning, everyone. This is Denise. All have a wonderful day. Stay safe and healthy. Like and share. Love your show. Thank you so much. Enjoy you being here, Denise, every day. Good info. Thank you so much. Feel the love and appreciate that. Thank you. So Jessica says all CANs, or community action networks, are looking for volunteers, especially for the days, big events, for small number of volunteers. All CAN members are awesome. So join to help your local community. We talk about getting involved a lot on this show, right? And we think we got to do big things. We think we have to, to save the world, we got to do some big event. But no, it's not the case. You just get involved in your community and your passions, and you can make an impression on somebody, having a conversation while you're volunteering. Say, hey, have you looked up in the sky lately? What are those? They go, I don't know. They're clouds. You go, well, do you see that line over there? Yeah. You see the jet? Well, you see that we thought was a cloud? Well, that's an old trail from a jet. Really? Looks like a cloud to me. No, we'll watch this one over here. It'll eventually turn into a cloud. That's where it happens. And then they go, wow, I never noticed that before. Yeah, no, they've been doing that for years. Yeah, apparently that's their way of trying to cool down the earth because of climate change, right? Yeah, but I never heard that on CBC. Yeah, go figure, eh? That's weird. It's weird that CBC doesn't talk about that. There you go. So that all happened while you're at an event volunteering and you made a friend and whatever. So this is what I'm talking about. If you want to make a difference and spread news about things and, inform people about things and make friendships at the same time. Or they go, I could care less about that. I love chemicals, breathing in chemicals that I don't know about. You go, hey, right on, man. That's cool. That's awesome. And you made a friend. And it doesn't matter. Our lives, this is Denise, our lives are in the hands of these people, our simple-minded people. They are the tools helping this. Okay, exactly. And the only way we can't fix stupid. And again, you're saying sentiments that a lot of people on both sides of the fence, if you will, if there is both sides of a fence and more than two sides usually, but you know what I mean. We all think that of another person. If someone doesn't think like me, they're stupid. But in fact, not necessarily. It's not necessarily like that. I know that's a frustrating point of view that we come from sometimes, and I'm just as much susceptible as anybody else on that. And but at the same time, if you rise above that and you realize maybe there's a reason why someone thinks the way that they do, you got to be okay with it, first of all. But again, I understand your frustrations too. When your country's at stake, and there's lots at stake, it can be frustrated because the power is in the people. But if the people aren't educated and understand what the real enemies are and what they're really supposed to be standing up for, it can be frustrating. I understand that too. I simply don't understand how some people don't care or even want to know what's going on in this world. They will be our demise. And that's, again, so that sentiment, right? But what can we expect? I mean, they turn the news on and they want to be informed, and they're told by the news, by respected, professional journalisms who are only out there to tell them the truth, right? So really, like, there is this thing where you got to wake up at some point out of that, and it's not easy to realize the very, news that I'm being told every day. And I was told by my prime minister, I got to watch out for misinformation in the news. They're telling me these people on the internet, they're just all over the place. They don't really know what they're talking about. Don't listen to them. We need to cancel them. We need to get them off Facebook. We need to get them off social media. We need to arrest them. We need to get rid of, that's what they're being told, right? And if they haven't woke up to the fact that they're being told that because they're afraid to be found out of what's going on, of what they're really doing, that's a huge transition for someone to make. I remember we've all been through it. A lot of people, some people not so much listening or watching, they're like, no, I am one of those people, and I think you're a quack. And I'm like, that's great. You have that ability, or you have that right to be able to say that. And I embrace it, and I actually celebrate that we're still in a country where someone can have an opinion and someone cannot agree with it, and it's okay. And I think that's totally fine. But again, let's move on. Willingly ignorant, dumb on purpose. Okay, equals dumb on purpose. Willingly ignorant equals dumb on purpose. That's Bob on YouTube. Okay, well, let's check into a little bit of some news headlines that we got going on around. Oh, there's so many comments. I'm going to get them up on the screen, I promise, if it's the last thing I do. But I appreciate everybody being involved, and I'm the one inviting and encouraging people to be able to do that. Yeah, more love, less hate. Start in your neighborhood. That's a really great motto, Jessica. Thank you so very much on that. Just because you know someone doesn't mean you need to hate the other person who doesn't know it or doesn't agree with you. Let's be the example on that, if we can. Even if the other side, if you have another side in your mind, if there's someone on the other side of a debate or other side of an opposite side of what they think is right, and you think something opposite, yeah, you just gotta love people to begin with. You have to have that as your default. Any other way isn't going to work. It just isn't. So thanks, Jessica, for sharing the link of how to get involved. Much appreciated. So it says an error occurred when retrieving new Facebook comments. So yeah, something is going on with Facebook at the moment. We're not sure. There's been freezing and things going on, but we'll have to see here. So city is losing a test maintenance hole requirement. So test maintenance holes connect with sewer lines at the property line and are required so city staff can test the water quality to determine the origin of contaminants. But we're losing it. That story is on Sudbury.com. So you want to check that out. What's up with that? Science North is celebrating their 40th. Can you believe they're already 40 years old, Science North? To me, it almost seems like yesterday hearing that they just built it and it's, huge national attention, blah, blah, blah. But Science North Center, Sudbury, Ontario celebrates its 40th anniversary this week. I wonder if they'll put on a drone show. Oh, no, we'll have that July 1st, so I guess it'll be combined with the July 1st celebration. Instead of fireworks, we're going to have the drones, right? And the city lines up 3.9% annual tax levy jump average for 10 years. At the status quo state, the city of Greater Sudbury is slated to see average annual tax levy increase of 3.9% for the next decade. Wow, that's good news. That means all the roads will be fixed and, all the infrastructure will be up to date. And, we'll clean up the downtown, possibly. I'm just saying that sarcastically. More money. I've never really seen how more money has really fixed any of the issues in our country. I just see misspending. And if the city doesn't have an audit, you know what I mean, to see where that misspending is going on, or, maybe management of operations and things that could be more efficient to save money, so that way when our taxes do increase, they actually go to things and they're not misspent or whatever. So I don't think I'm alone on this either. Like, we really got to do a better job with being accountable to taxpayers. Raise the taxes, but let's really see some other things being done on your end to create that trust between taxpayers and you, that the money is going for good causes and not being misspent, really. And an audit is a great way, like a true audit, not a fake one, that you do internally and say, everything's great. No, not one of those, but a real audit. And let's really kind of, if I'll use the word repent, change. Go back as a city and go, look, we could do a better job. We can be more accountable to the citizens. We can do this. And we can create a hugely vibrant, wonderful city that everyone can enjoy, and we don't have to have corruption. Let's get rid of corruption. Let's just do it. Even if we're corrupt ourselves to some degree, let's just go, yeah, you know what? Let's not be corrupt anymore. Let's just turn over a new leaf, and let's just be totally transparent, and let's be accountable with people and their money in the city. And I think we can do that. I really do. I think it'd be great policy. I think whoever does that, whoever takes that stand, will be enshrined forever and will have a legacy that no one can compare to in the city. They'll make a statue of you, put it downtown of gold, and saying, this is somebody who we can really confide in, that's really done something good for the city. And when I say a statue of gold, obviously I don't mean that's what's actually going to happen. I just mean you're going to have accolades like nobody's business, real ones, not just fake ones that people give you because that's what they do, to get something they want, kind of thing. Real accolades. And yeah, you'll have a real legacy. Morning, Sudbury. Love the show. Thanks, Anne-Marie. Thanks for being with us. Much appreciated. So city taxes going up. What else is expected? Taxes going up everywhere, federally, provincially, locally. Soon we'll just be given an allowance. Just work. We'll give you what you need to live. I think that's the end goal anyways, to talk about the universal income. It's to make that. It's a communist kind of idea that a lot of people love. They don't realize what all the other things that go along with it, but they love that idea. Just give me a couple $1,000 a month and I'm happy. You'll own nothing. You'll be happy, right? See? You'll be happy. All right. AI could bring new scams, the OPP are saying. There are new scams by email or text messages every day through EI, so make sure not to be drawn in. And good morning, Courtney. Thanks for being with us. I appreciate your comment here, asking people to just wake up. And there's so much they're not telling us for sure. Always has been the case. It's never changed. So again, watch out for these AI scams that are coming through your email and your text messages. So on Sudbury's Good Morning, Sudbury.com's Good Morning to Start Your Day, There are a couple stories here. One is the Laurentian pool. They're going to fix that apparently, but no costs have been released. So the options range in price and lifespan and are proposed in a consultant's report. So many consultants' reports, so much money spent on consultants. Interesting. However, you do need to know what to do. You need to know the good, the bad, the ugly. So I think it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. These options include everything from temporary crack repairs to using a more costly advanced technology to reinforce the pool. So I guess they have their report on the costs and solutions with the costs attached to them, and they'll make a decision of what to do with the pool. It's just sitting there doing nothing at the moment. Northern home sales showing strong growth. Sudbury's up 5.7%. Now that's interesting, right? Ontario home prices were stable in May, continuing to a trend in February that ended a 5-month fall that began last summer. Figures released by Canadian Real Estate Association show. On year-over-year basis, the average single-family home in the province sold for almost $1 million, $951,000, down 3.8% from the average $989,000 they sold for in May of 2023. Wow. That's the average single family home in Ontario. That's crazy. Almost $1 million. The numbers are seasonally adjusted and do not take inflation into account. Really? Inflation, depending on what measure you choose, is running between 3.4 and 3.7%. May was another sleepy month for housing activity in Canada. Although it may prove to be the last of those now that interest rates have moved 0.25% lower. There you go. Health Unit is warning about a possible pink cocaine in Sudbury. A pink cocaine. It's leading to a spike in drug poisoning. Again, I just want to say, don't do drugs, especially ones on the street. Just don't do them. They won't do you any good to do even clean drugs. Don't do drugs. Now, I know maybe some are prescribed by a doctor and you need it to live. Okay, that's a different thing altogether. But never start doing drugs for any reason, and especially this new pink cocaine. And if you do it, it's at your own risk, and you could end up not being able to do any more drugs after that. It won't be good for anyone, including you. So, yeah, that's the news for today. And no time for the deep dive. We just had a lot of conversation, which I do appreciate. We weren't on yesterday, so we had a lot of catch up to do. Thanks, everyone, for listening and watching. We appreciate you, appreciate CKLU, and all the platforms, Facebook, YouTube. Make sure to look for the show on demand afterwards on those two platforms, along with Twitter.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.News, our website. It's a local news aggregator. Check it out. And thanks to our partner, Duck Check. Appreciate the partnership, sponsoring the weather each and every day. And we'll be back same time, same place tomorrow on these great platforms. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Stay cool and stay safe. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.